Welcome to Laureld Smith of Chicago, Illinois' nonprofit home video and artwork creations. This particular video in which I'm creating actually decodes the Vancouver, Canada telescope image of NIBIRU, where we see several glowing spaceship-like planets emerging out of the back area of our sun. When you filter this image on your computer, you will see that these glowing spaceship-like orbs, right, are exiting a huge cube structure. Now this huge cube structure is a part of the Ethiopian 6-point star King Solomon. Every 6-point star has a cube. Well, when we compare this ancient Babylonian stealth pyramid civilization of Ham temple walls in Iraq, this is Black African Islamic Aramaic Dead Sea Scroll speaking sons of Jacob. Now remember, the 12 African continent tribes are the original reference to the 12 sons of Jacob. So here, when we look at the Babylonian stealth pyramid temple walls, we see the 12th planet. Now, there's a misunderstanding because of ZACHARIAH SITCHIN's research. When we look at the 12th planet, most people are trying to identify a planet that comes into our solar system from the orbital plane of Pluto and then passes between Mars and Jupiter. Okay, this, however, might be a pathway of the cube of the Ethiopian 6-point star King Solomon. However, the correct way in which the cube in the 6-point star the Ethiopian 6-point star center in a cross-shaped building structure in LALIBELA'S places the cube within the sun. Now if we look at this astronomical cross within the circle, the sun is in the center of the cross. If we go back to Africa and Ethiopia in a helicopter and look straight down from a 12 to 6 o'clock position upon a stone solid cross-shaped building structure in LALIBELA'S, we're looking at a building image representing the planet of the crosser. Now this is where the African lion sphinx of ancient Judaism in front of the African pyramids in Giza can be astronomically and theologically and archaeologically reconnected to the planet of heaven. Now this is the cube coming in and out of our sun. Now this cube is actually NIBIRU. I'll prove it in my visual filtering process that the E image of NIBIRU, now I'm referring to Laureld's filtered planetary image of NIBIRU as it's seen with the telescope image of Vancouver, Canada. So this will be the Vancouver, Canada tag NIBIRU behind the sun 67161018. So when we look at this Babylonian 6-point star, it's the oldest of the 6-point stars on planet Earth. Make a note of that. Okay, so there's not a European face is really 6-point star connected to European face Jews. We can erase that right out of the Bible and right out of the Black Afro-American mindset. When we look at the origin of the 6-point star, we're looking at Babylon. That's going back to the Middle East and Iraq, where we see the globe earth stealth pyramid Mercator projection of the book of Psalms 105th chapter 23rd verse, Islamic Aramaic Dead Sea Scroll speaking 12 sons of Jacob. Now remember, the 12 sons of Jacob was supposed to represent the 12 African continent tribes from North to South Africa. Now what's upon the stealth pyramid temple walls in Babylon is the origin of the 6-point star. And when we look at this, we see a sun circle instead of a cube in the Babylonian stealth pyramid civilization of Ham, central area of the 6-point star. Then we see smaller circles surrounding the tips of the 6-point star, which represents planets within our solar system. So when I compared the Babylonian 12th planet, Stellar Pyramid Civilization of Ham temple wall image of a 6-point star that has circles representing planets. When I compared it to the Vancouver, Canada image of NIBIRU, telescope image of NIBIRU, the amazing thing is that I discovered if you picture the sun, then put a big plasma seed white circle in front, to the right side of the sun. Okay, so the cube is in the center of this plasma circle, and when we look at the top area of the cube, we will see glowing spheres exiting the cube of New Jerusalem. Remember, this is the black African cube of the 6-point star of King Solomon, which is connected to the black African lion sphinx of ancient Judea. Judea, according to the 400-year-old mistranslated King James Bible, is the book of Ezra, 1st chapter, 3rd verse, places it within the land of Judea. So when it says, let us go up to Jerusalem, which is located in the land of Judah. Okay, so the whole Temple Mount structure in the Middle East, these structures are appearing on the red YouTube planet filter of NIBIRU, as discovered by Laureld Smith of Chicago, Illinois, a non-profit home video and artworks creations. Now, when I see the same images on the Vancouver, Canada telescope image of NIBIRU, I'm referring to the 67161018 image. Okay, so this is the tag for Vancouver, Canada, image of NIBIRU moons behind the sun. Now, there's a misread when we try to identify 8 moons orbiting NIBIRU. Okay, that's a big mistake. You say why? Because you cannot have 8 moons orbiting a star. You get it? You say why? Because you must identify NIBIRU as a second sun within our solar system. Now, when we filter the second sun, we see a cube. Okay, so this is the same cube in which I'm comparing to the Vancouver, Canada telescope image of moons, NIBIRU moons, emerging from behind the sun. So this second sun within our solar system, in which astronomers has filmed and placed on the internet, is actually a glowing cube structure in Jerusalem. Now remember, it's connected to black Africans. Make a point of that first. The black African, Ethiopian, lion sphinx of ancient Judea and Jerusalem's globe earth stellar pyramid civilization of Ham. So this cube is a second sun. Okay, so when astronomers film it, it looked like a smaller sun. But now this is why there's a misread when we try to identify moons orbiting NIBIRU. Okay, you cannot have 8 moons orbiting a planet like that. It would be more astronomically correct to say we have 8 planetary bodies orbiting a second sun. Now, when we approach the NIBIRU image with that mindset, we will immediately see the red planet. Now, remember, in another video in which I had created, I referred to NIBIRU'S Moon 3, which appeared above the equatorial area of planet Earth on May 2016, as seen with the naked eye in the skies of Australia. Now, this NIBIRU Moon 3 can be connected to the Sphinx planet, the lion sphinx of ancient Judea and Jerusalem. Now, this is why we see all kinds of African couching lion sphinx faces, land surface body structures on the red YouTube planet filter of NIBIRU. Also, we see it on the May 26th, the month of May, year 2016 image of NIBIRU Moon 3, as seen with the naked eye above the equatorial perimeters of planet Earth. So as we go back to the Babylonian globe earth stellar pyramid civilization of Ham, the moment we identify the origin of the Jewish 6-point star, we erase the Jewish word right out the Bible and right out of the Afro-American churches. What we're doing is applying the oldest 6-point star as seen upon the globe earth stellar pyramid civilization of Ham, Babylonian temple walls. Now this old 6-point star has a circle for a sun instead of a cube. Now if we go and look at the cross-shaped building structure in Lalibela, we will see if we walk in this stone cross-shaped building structure, which is a geometric representation of the planet of the crossing. So if we walk in here and stand in the center and look up, we're going to see a stone 6-point star with a cube in the center. So this is the cube of New Jerusalem for the Afro-American ministers and preachers that were sleeping on archaeology and theology. So you go on Facebook, you will see my theology and archaeology page, and you can comment or share those videos as you will be exposed to my latest archaeological, theological, astronomical, or microbiological discovery video images. Now, if we go back to the cube in the sun of King Solomon, stone cross-shaped building structure in Ethiopia, in the place called Lalibela, that cube is what the Vancouver, Canada telescope image 67161018 filmed. Although when they placed it on the internet, this beautiful woman was given a description of these orbs coming from behind the sun. However, when I filtered that image, I saw a cube in the plasma loop emerging out of the sun. Now, and then the orbs emerging out of the cube. So that's a big difference between these glowing spaceship-like planets, in which this female astronomer referred to as orbs. So these glowing bright light planets, in which was filmed by the Vancouver, Canada telescope image of NIBIRU, the 67161018 image. These planets are actually going in and out of this second sun. Now the second sun, when you filter it, you will see a cube in the second sun that appears within our solar system. So that means that we have angels of light. And when I say angels, I'm not talking about a white man with blue eyes and blonde hair with wings, or white women with blue eyes and blonde hair with wings. You can trash that false man-based world religion concept. Okay. When I talk about angels coming in and out of the sun, and in and out of the cube structure of New Jerusalem, I'm talking about magnetic rotating balls of hydrogen light type beings. Okay. And they live on these glowing balls of light like orbs, planet-like orbs. Now, when we connect the holy hydrogen-lighted creation of 1 John 1:1, 15 billion-year sun throne that existed in the black outer regions of space before it created the 5 billion-year world, we're looking at the biblical light that created the world returning in the cube crystal city structure of New Jerusalem, crystallographic projected 101 atomic plane. Now this would be the seal of King Solomon. Okay, it is an African 6-point star in Lalibela, stone cross-shaped building structure ceiling post area. Now this 6-point star has a cube. So now when we make the connection with modern astronomical data concerning NIBIRU and ZACHARIAH SITCHIN's 12th planet data or research, the moment we identify the cube of New Jerusalem as the cube in the 6-point star, okay, we would have identified a glowing cube entering in and out of our sun. This is the cube structure of New Jerusalem. And the beings in that cube are magnetic rotating balls of hydrogen light. Now the human mind is a magnetic rotating ball of hydrogen light. The human soul is made up of thousands of millions upon millions times trillions of rotating circular hydrogen light plasma. So when we see this circular hydrogen light plasma in Microbiology 101, okay, rotating and glowing around the chemical circular area of the human cell, we have identified 1 John 1:1, 15 billion-year sun throne, which is Psalms 84:11 sun throne of Malachi 4:2 winged Egyptian sun disk. So the solar theology of ancient Egypt, African lion sphinx of Jerusalem and Judea, has been rediscovered by Laureld Smith, as we now see that the human Ka, Ka, and Ba is connected to the soul light and mind light. Okay, is connected to the holy hydrogen lighted creation emerging from 1 John 1:1, 15 billion-year sun throne, which is the winged sun that's that is written upon all the black African Egyptian temple walls in Egypt. So as we rediscover that the holy hydrogen light of creation element of all human souls is connected to Malachi 4:2 winged Egyptian sunders and the African lion things in front of the African pyramids in Giza. That's North Africa. So when we rediscover that the cube upon the Babylonian stealth pyramid civilization of Ham, referred to in the book of Psalms 105th chapter and 23rd verse, we see this cube going in and out of our sun. Now if you take an astronomical circle and put a cross in it, then the sun is in the center of the cross. But now if we go back to Africa in a place called Lalibela and go inside this stone cross-shaped building structure, the moment we do this, we will be looking at the ceiling. If we stand in the center of this stone cross-shaped building structure, we will see a 6-point star that has a central cube. Now this cube is the cube of New Jerusalem, and the cross-shaped building structure in Lalibela is was carved out of solid bedrock, and the area that was left formed a deep Masonic square, about 50 feet deep. So this Masonic square also represents the square base of the African pyramids in Egypt. So the moment you jump down in this square Masonic enclosure area that encloses the cross-shaped building structure in Ethiopia, once you reach the bottom and look up, you'll be looking up from the cubic dimensions of New Jerusalem. How do we know this? Because every cube has a square for a ceiling, a square for a floor, and a square for a left and right wall. Hence, when we reclaim Africa's cube structure of the Ethiopian 6-point star seal of King Solomon, we have rediscovered the Masonic square base of the African pyramids in Giza. Now that's the 220 cubics on each square left and right line of the square, and north and south line. And the pyramid of Potem lines is 356 cubits. This is why if you hold a pyramid in your left hand pointing up and hold a pyramid in your right hand pointing down, if you bring both pyramid triangular apexes together that they interlock, you see the 6-point star, a black African origin of the Jewish, the European Israeli Jew, okay, that's illegally occupying the black African Egyptian land of Canaan, instead of the black African lion sphinx of NIBIRU, or which is referred to as the lion sphinx of Judea, descendants. So we're now looking at the 6-point star cube of New Jerusalem going in and out of our sun. Now when we look at this second sun in our solar system that was placed on the internet, the moment we discover that this red planet orbiting the second sun is the African lion sphinx of ancient Judea, outer space planet of area of heaven. So the outer space heaven. Now remember, when you go back to the book of Joshua in the 400-year-old mistranslated King James Bible, you open up and read it about the sun standing still in the midst of heaven and did not go down about the space of a whole day. Today with modern astronomical telescopes, we're looking at the sun shining 93 million miles away across the black outer reaches of space upon the 5 billion year old world in which it created. So that would be 1 John 1:1, biblical light that created the world that returns to the cube structure of New Jerusalem, and not the false European man-based world religions, bearded penis-bearing image of Jesus. Remember, since God is not a man, the biological extraterrestrial life forms that created African Adam also landed in Mount Sinai, upon Mount Sinai in the Old Testament. And Ezekiel's willing to will like U.F.Os. Now these biological extraterrestrials I'm discovering on NIBIRU and the Vancouver, Canada telescope image of NIBIRU. Now you say, well, how is that possible? Well, if you believe in the holy hydrogen creation element of Malachi 4:2 winged sunners, which is 1 John 1:1, biblical light to exist in the black outer regions of space before it created the 5 billion year old world, then this biblical light that lighted every man that comes into the world is glowing around all your cells as a rotating circle of hydrogen light plasma. And that means then that your vision or optic nerves that normally would have sodium potassium based neurological light, it would be overridden, right, by this holy hydrogenated creation element of your soul. So when you search for God sincerely in outer space, you will find these aliens that created the normal the African Adam. This is the biological God. there's no biological European with a penis underneath his white robe. Why? Because God is not a man, and every man has a penis. So every Afro-American minister and preacher is in theological error for urging their churchgoers to get down on their knees and pray to the European false Lord God image of Jesus. Now remember, if we look at one of the aliens that landed upon Mount Sinai in Ezekiel's ruling the world like UFOs, they are biological extraterrestrial life forms. And some has 3 fingers and 1 thumb on each hand, and big black oval-shaped eyes. Some stand about 4.5 feet tall. So they kind of short aliens. But now, when you look between their legs, you're going to see smooth skin where a woman's vagina would be. So this means that the aliens that created African Adam do not have a penis. So the God, alien, extraterrestrials of the Temple Mount and Ethiopian cross-shaped building structure in Lalibela, they do not have a penis. That means it places the aliens on the NIBIRU and the aliens that created the normal-headed African Adam above the false man-based world religions. Now remember, Jesus Christ was a man and a prophet. So it's theologically incorrect for Afro-Americans to believe the European 400-year-old mistranslated King James Bible false man-based world religions lie, that the European image of God as Jesus, right, that has a beard and a penis underneath his white robe, is the God that created your soul light, the 9 planets in the solar system, which is theologically incorrect and astronomically incorrect. Why? Because God is not a man. Once you make that clear to the Afro-American ministers and preachers in your neighborhood churches, you might just wake them up to the true alien UFO that appeared over the Temple Mount in the year 2011. Now, if we go back to this extraterrestrial biological life form that created the normal-headed African Adam, we're going to see a whole species of extraterrestrials. And so this brings us back to the understanding in theology that when it says let us make man in our image, it was not talking about a European man that has a penis underneath his white robe, because that's the false man-based world religion, because every man has a penis, image of Jesus. Nor was it talking about the old man bearded image of Jehovah. If you raise Jehovah's robe up, the old white man called Jehovah in Jehovah's Witness Bibles, you're going to see an old European man that has a beard and a penis underneath his white robe. So you can erase Jesus and Jehovah right out of the Afro-American churches, because this is part of the false man-based world religion, or the 10 horns of Daniel, or NATO and the European forces that now illegally occupy the black African Egyptian land of Canaan. Now, if you open up your theological books, you're going to see that the Jerusalem, which is located in the land of Judea, according to the 400-year-old mistranslated King James Bible, Book of Ezra, 1st chapter, 3rd verse. So when it says, let us go up to Jerusalem, which is located in Judea, and build the house of the Lord God of Jacob, they're talking about the house of the 12 African continent tribe aliens, okay? The ones that created the normal-headed African Adam from an Angora gorilla. That was gorillas running all around the earth in the jungles, black-skinned gorillas, and then they was educated by these aliens and DNA manipulated to speak and talk.